Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are out there in the world. It's time for another edition of the SoundTraxx Soundbites podcast. This is Train Talk from Milepost 141, and today we're on episode 44, which is season 3, episode 9.
Wow.
So we've been doing it a little bit, so hopefully you guys have been enjoying it. We do appreciate y'all tuning in and listening in to what we have to say.
We appreciate it very much so.
Yep, I'm George, this is Tom,
Hello.
And what do you say we jump right in? I know we've been giving you a hard time about it. It's in the flesh. It's finally here.
Yeah.
We've got a Ziegler Coal company
NW2.
So tell us all about it.
This is one of the Walther's recent releases. I want to shout out to them too. They did an outstanding job on this. Bob Tuznik, Eric, all the guys up there at Walther's, excellent job on this model. It's got a die-cast frame. It showed up at my house, of course, as an undeck, which a lot of my stuff does, as you've seen on the podcast. A lot of it wears gray for a while. This was a former Terminal Railroad Association St. Louis engine before Ziegler bought it.
Okay.
Ziegler had it, briefly there in the, late 70s, early 80s, and then it went down to Cora, Illinois. And I don't know if it's still sitting there or not. Guys down in Southern Illinois that watch the podcast, you can maybe chime in and let us know if it's still there. It used to sit at the Cora, Illinois River Transfer Station there, where they dump coal trains there.
Okay.
And the engine used to work there its last days there, but they had the Ziegler stuff painted out on it. It was just solid white.
Okay.
But it's a Walther's engine. It's got the Next 18 Tsunami2 in it.
Okay.
I used the Walther's board because their board's compatible with our decoders and any other decoders that the customer wants to use, which, again, shout out to Walther for that.
Yep. Absolutely.
So all my lighting functions and stuff I can... They're talking to us now, the cab chatter. They're ready to copy. But it's got a beacon on it. The engine is set up with a little bit of momentum in it. And on this one, I did the deadband. I think I set it to 10. Just messing with it. I don't know if I changed it back, but it takes a while for it to get moving. So you kind of get that simulation with the 3 and 4, CV3 and 4, the momentum, to give you that heavy train, the sensation or simulation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, trying to throttle up and load up the engine so you can get that heavy train rolling.
Let's see. Select local.
So So for those of you watching on video, we're showing off some of the pictures of this while Tom's selecting his loco on the throttle here. And you did a beautiful job. I mean, the decals came out well. The paint job looks nice and smooth. And I like the single headlights on the end. Yeah.
Walther's gives you options for both of those. They have the other version of it, too, that comes in the box. You get 2 other hoods with this engine, so you get different phases with it that come with the undeck, which is another thing. Great.
Wow, that's amazing.
Great from Walther's. Thank you again. And like George just mentioned, the headlight, these are the single lens, but they do give you the split lens, like,
the normal sealed beam, twin sealed beam.
Yep, they give you that as well. And then, like I said, you get 2 different styles of stacks. You get the conical ones here, and you get those short ones that they have that come with it. You get 3 different sets of handrails that come with it.
Oh, wow.
And then, like I said, there's 2 different sets of, there's roller bearings, and then there's 2 different sets of friction bearings that fit on the side frames, too. So you pick the ones that are appropriate for the model that you're depicting.
Nice.
So,
that works.
And the engine itself, didn't take very long to paint it. It just took more to get it done and get the solva set.
Because getting the decals on to get them settled, especially over all those vents.
Yeah, it was.
So, do you remember what locomotive address you have on that?
I'm going to find out right now. So
we're
going
to
see.
Off.
So what I'm doing is I'm going to CV1, and I'm going to see what my address is because it says 3. So.
Okay, what's 29?
And then we'll see. 29 should be 2.
Well, it should be.
Yeah, let's see what that is.
So he's reading CVs. Nope, you've got a long address set in there.
Oh, okay.
So what's that?
Let's change that to 2.
What is that? Loco 222 or?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll just leave it like I can leave it that way, or I can just.
Well, I'm just saying you got
back out of there.
There's no numbers on the cab, which may be accurate.
You're right. It's 22-2 was the number that they gave it. I don't know if that was the number that came. Let's try that. And now.
Nope. Did you put it as 20? No, it was address 3. So, okay. Well, go set CV29 to...
I'll set it to 2.
A value of 2. So you set a long address in there. You just don't remember what you did.
It's been in the box since I...
was it 2220 maybe?
I don't know.
Well, program CV29, just go ahead and set it to a value of 2 so that you can
use 3.
Make it an address of 3 for the video.
Right. There we go.
Now select 3. Okay, now you should have control of it.
There we go.
There we go.
She's starting up. It basically was, like I said, it took more to get the Salva set, these large decals which were made by Precision Design, William Berlinger up in Canada. Mm-hmm. And when Bill did those, they turned out great as all of his work does.
Yeah, they look beautiful.
So,
there you go.
And then we'll turn the light on, and then the way I programmed it so the engine would run when it moves, or rather when it moves, the beacon will work. So you'll see the beacon. And like I said, I set deadband, I think that's, 216?
I'm going to move this other camera over so the folks can see the other beacon, because looking at it from back there, you probably can't see the other beacon.
And it's got that great SoundTraxx 12-cylinder 567 tractor sounding EMD.
Yeah, I love that sound.
I turned the bell down because the video I made for Facebook was annoyingly loud.
Yeah.
So I turned the bell down. But and
now you're way off camera for all of these.
We'll back her out. Yeah, we'll back her up.
There you go.
And this engine, I left it for demonstration, so you can hear it revving up.
Yeah.
That's the deadband. And it's so that way when I'm running it with the momentum and stuff, does this thing spent most of its life shunting cars and stuff in and out of the coal mine. Mm-hmm. So that's why I programmed the light to, when the engine's moving, the light flashes. When the engine comes to a complete stop, the light will shut off.
Okay.
And that's using the auxiliary on your auxiliary, bank of the
function
Tsunami2
mapping. Yep, the auxiliary function mapping. So for those of you guys who don't realize, you can trigger lighting effects to happen automatically based on motion and direction. So when he's got this light extinguished when the locomotive is stopped, but then when it's moving forward or moving in reverse, the light illuminates. And then the lighting effect takes place as you see the strobe light on there.
And see, with the deadband, even though it's not in motion, because I'm cranking the throttle, the light senses that with the decoder, and it allows you to start moving. So that way the guys can get out of the way because they know this thing's getting ready to take off.
Yep.
But in this case, it's basically done this way to simulate shoving cars and pulling cars out of the tipple.
Yeah.
Because these work tipple mines is what they did. So it's just runs great. The Walters drive's fantastic. The Tsunami decoder really brings out that drive, lets you really fine tune that. Same drive you have in your Blunami decoders. Mm-hmm. It's the same wonderful motor drive. CV3 and 4 are probably set to 125 and maybe 100 respectively. Yeah. And then, like I said, the deadband just gives you that ability to really crank it in there, and just simulate the coal mine. The busy. This thing would work its tail off. The stripes on it were done painting the. I think it's Aspen Gold. I used Rio Grande color. It's pretty close to the picture I saw of it. Yeah. So paint the Aspen Gold first, tape it off with Tamiya masking tape, then paint your black.
Yep.
And then I painted all the handrails and stuff separately, as we showed in some pictures before with the engine.
Yep.
Anyway, it was a fun project. Got some more engines lined up to do. The engine I got from George, the SW1200. Mm-hmm. It's among the next one, and I got a new Walters SW1 coming. That's going to be another coal mine engine.
Oh, nice.
So that's going to be one of the new projects too. So we'll see.
Cool.
When it shows up. I think they said they're starting to show up. So
gotcha.
Anyway, I consider do this all day long, so I'm going to stop and let George get to his engine.
Yeah.
We'll move this dude out of the way. Yep. Come on, old feller.
So the good thing is what we're showing you here is that you've got lots of settings that you can go in and adjust how the decoder behaves. You know, in motion, you can go really slow down the track.
Yeah.
You know.
This engine right here with the coal mine, as our friend Jim Wiggin at Athens always talks about, a switching layout. This thing would take you, way it's set up right now, it'd take you hours to move a set of cars around for this thing. You can have all kinds of fun with this thing. Switching a coal mine, a yard, or whatever, a power plant. Or, like I said, the engine spent the last days of its service life, at least as far as I know, at a river transfer station dumping coal hoppers, moving them in and out of a rotary dumper.
Oh, gotcha. Nice.
So we'll mute it.
Yep. So you did a great job on it. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's nice to see that you got a project completed.
Yeah, there's a couple more. Some of the one of the GP15s that I had last summer getting repainted. Mm-hmm. It's in process now too. If you look at my page on Facebook, you'll see it. And then, like I said, there's an SW1200 and an SW1 when it shows up. Mm-hmm. But I'm just having a lot of fun with the lighting and stuff like that. This engine was a lot of fun to work on because, again, Walters makes such an excellent product. Mm-hmm. It has a die-cast frame, the steps and everything. Just primered it with the Mr. Hobby metal primer first, then the Mr. Hobby gray primer, and then shot the white, and it just came out beautiful. True color white is what that basically is. Okay. I think reefer white, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Looks great, so good job.
Thank you.
Well, my project, I've already shown this.
Yeah.
We've already shown this particular model. I didn't have anything new to show. It's been kind of a busy last few weeks for me.
Right.
So the projects that I've actually have on my bench haven't been completed, so I didn't bring them. And I'm about to start a couple of new the Jeep 18 projects. I'm finally going to start working on those things.
Yeah.
Because I got a really cool secret, and I want to finish these Jeep 18s. I want to get a couple of them done, and you'll just have to wait and see what I do with them. So,
can't wait.
Anyway, the reason I have this particular model with me is today we're going to talk about on our tech tip. We wanted to talk about reverb and echo, and this is one of the things that a lot of people don't realize helps add so much to the locomotive. And so we're going to come back over here. All right, I'm connected, and so I'm going to go ahead and screen record. So that way we've got the view here. Now remember, the Tsunami2 has this feature built into it, as well as the Blunami's.
Right.
And I'm just showing you through the Blunami, so you get a visual representation. But if you have a Tsunami2, you already have this feature built into it. So if you have one of those Athens Tsunami2s, or like your Next 18 project here, any of those will already have this feature built into it. Now, when I blow the air horn, I'm going to show the short air horn for exaggeration. But you can kind of hear how that air horn tones out.
Right.
And that's simulating the echo or the reverb. And just for the differences, echo is a sound reflection off of a distant surface, and reverb is a sound reflection off of an adjacent surface. So if you're running, like, say, an urban canyon where you're switching, like, say, in the Kansas City bottoms where you've got a lot of buildings all right up against there, that's going to sound a lot different than, say, if you're here in Durango where you've got the mountains out there.
Right.
And so really it allows you to customize your decoder's performance based on what you're modeling. Now, I tend to personally like a little bit of echo added into it because it adds a little bit of presence of atmosphere.
It does.
So when I blow the air horn here, the full air horn, you can kind of hear how it tails off a little bit. And then when we've got I must have missed and hit the throttle button, but when you've got the short air horn, you can kind of hear that sound. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here to my sound settings, and then down here on reverb, and then here you're going to see some reverb presets. And what this does is in your Tsunami2 and Blunami decoders, CV233 allows you to adjust the presets so that you can have either a short reverb, a heavy reverb, or medium, long, short, long, extra long echoes.
Right.
And so you can really create your own atmosphere. Now here you can see I've got a long echo. So if I decide I'm just going to turn it off. So we're going to go ahead and turn it off. Now when I come over here to my air horn, now listen how much different the air horn sounds. It's very abrupt ending.
Dry.
And it sounds very dry. And so this is how you can add how much of that echo and reverb you want to your own models. Now, I'm going to show you two different things. So we're going to go back to sound settings. We're going to go back down to the reverb and echo. Now we're going to try, I had the long echo. We can do extra long. We're going to go back to long echo. But then now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the main sounds here. And under the air horn, you can see the volume is set to 75, but then my reverb, and that's how much of that reverb signal is going to be filtered back in. So if I come in here and really crank it up to full long echo, now listen to how the horn sounds when I blow the short horn. It takes a lot longer for that reverberations or echo to trail off. And then
dramatically different.
You can hear how much different it is. Now we're going to go back and we're going to change this. Again, sound settings, main sounds. Now this is CV161 for those of you guys in the Tsunami world. CV161 is what determines. Now 0 to 255 equals 0 to 100% feedback, but you can go in here and make your change. So I'm going to change my reverb back down to, we'll say 40. Okay, we'll just try something a little bit different. A little bit lower. Whoops, wrong button. So now when I blow my horn, you can hear that there's not a whole lot of that long echo, but there's a little bit. And it's difficult to hear, especially in that short amount. So that's why I tend to use a little bit more. So we'll go back to my sound settings, and I'm going to add the reverb. I'm going to go up to about 75, which is what I like. Somewhere around here, that's close enough for government work. 74. Now when I come in here, now when I blow my horn, you can kind of hear that it's got that tail off again as opposed to that echoing sound. So it gives you some presence of atmosphere so that you can have your horn sound, better to your ears. These are some of the tools in our audio that we give you in our decoders that allows you to customize it. Now, this is in Tsunami2 and Blunami. The Econami does not have this particular feature. This is one of the economy features that was left off so that you get a budget sound decoder.
Right.
And so having the full tone of the atmosphere, you can really do it. Now, just for grins, let's go ahead and pull yours up. I'm going to go ahead and mute my locomotive here. And you can go ahead and do the same. Now, do you remember how much reverb you added into yours?
I just used one of the presets, whatever was on the decoder, probably.
Okay.
I moved it 161.
Yeah, so 161 determines how much reverb and echo you're adding to the decoder's performance of the horn.
So read it.
Well, not with my locomotive on the track, you can't. So when you're reading, go ahead and hit 4. Or you can scroll through them. Program escape. Press the 4 key. Oh, it missed.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Program track.
Yep.
Press enter. Now, since my locomotive is off the track,
yep.
So you can read CV 161.
Let's read it.
And reading 161 is obviously not 0. So how much do you have in there? Let's see. You got it set at about 50%,
yep.
128.
Yep.
Now go ahead and read 233 and see what so hit enter. Now go ahead and read 233 and see which preset you have. So you've got 3, so you've got a long reverb.
Yep.
So go ahead and exit out. And then now what we can do is if you want to, change the 161 value. So program on the main.
You got your okay.
I'm on the app, so it shouldn't.
Yeah.
It shouldn't do anything to you. It shouldn't have anything to do with that, even if this is set to address 3. But I think it's set to 7019.
All right, 161.
Yeah. 161. Now set it to 255. Okay. Now exit out. Now blow your horn. Unmute your locomotive.
There we go.
So that's a heavy reverb.
Real heavy.
And that's full applied. So you can hear some tone, but it's not super strong. It's not coming through like my Echo is on this one.
Right.
So that gives you some idea of the differences. But as I mentioned, this is what we're showing you is that CV161 and then CV233 would allow you to add that. Now the cool thing is about our reverb settings is through CV161 to 170, 180, I believe it is, allows you to add reverb and echo to all of the individual sound effects on steam, diesel, electric, all the way up to, but not limited to, Fireman Ed's toilet flush. So if you wanted to add echo and reverb on the Fireman Ed's toilet flush, you can certainly do that with our decoders.
Yeah, Ed would probably use the restroom at the mine, probably on this.
Yeah,
that one area might need it because if he's out on the Front Range heading to Pueblo on the Colorado Eagle, he might need the bathroom.
He might need it in there.
Yeah.
So on your screen here, I'm sharing on my screen. You can see CV161 is the air horn reverb, and you can see that it's set to 74.
Yeah.
And then here's all your individual reverb channels that you can add all the way down. So it does go all the way down to where does it end up here? CV192. Is where cab chatter is, and then CV191 is that toilet flush reverb. So if you really want to add it, you certainly can do it. But I didn't add it to anything really. The pop-it valve, we do have some defaulted on there, so that you get a little bit of that, kind of a little bit of that, so it doesn't just sound flat. So it gives it some presence. And so you could just simply set CV161, experiment with it, try it out, see what you like, and go from there. So.
And I don't remember if I changed it or not, but obviously it's not a 0, but it may be the default on the decoder. I don't remember changing the reverb on it, but it sounds pretty good the way it did. And like I said, it gives you, but that's dramatic. And then the other thing, of course, you see the difference too. You're doing CVs with this thing and you're using the throttle, whereas here you got a much faster and much easier interface to go about changing it on the fly at that, as fast as you want.
Yep.
As fast as your fingers can make it happen.
There you go. And here's one of the cool things I'll show you really quickly on the app. So if you want to experiment with the settings of the reverb and echo, okay, go in, find a thing, find what you like, say, okay, I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to my CV settings. I can hit CV backup. That way it'll back up all of my CV settings so that therefore I don't have to worry about trying to remember what it was.
Yeah.
Then I can go back and start experimenting with the sound settings here and experiment with it. And so that way you can go in and make your adjustments. You can decide what you like. And if you decide you don't like that or the new changes, you can always go back to the one you liked.
Right.
And it just takes a few moments. So.
Right. It's a lot faster on that. And like what I did with this one is I made my list and then I punched them all in numerically, chronologically is what I usually do with these when I do it all at one time, and then that's it. And then, like I said, it went back in the box for a little while till we brought it out here today.
Yep.
So, to be fair, also this has been out here a couple other times too.
Yeah.
In various stages of appearances, and now it's finished.
Exactly.
But yeah, and the Colorado Eagle here, I mean, that thing would have that reverb like George set it up. I could see that thing coming across the Front Range on its way to Pueblo, and you could hear it. That horn would sound like that out in the open.
Yep.
It'd have that dramatic sound.
Very much so.
Yep.
So here's your fun fact. I don't know if you knew this, but when the Eagle was handed off in Pueblo it was handed off. The Mopac crew did not run it to Denver. That was the Rio Grande crew.
Right.
Because the Grand crew wouldn't let the Mopac people run their trains.
So did they take the power off?
Nope.
They ran it
all the way through.
I'll be darned.
And the other thing that's interesting, if you watch some of there's a Pentrax video out there of the Denver and Rio Grande. And what's interesting is running the Amtrak train over the Moffat Tunnel line.
Yeah.
You'll notice there's a Grand Jeep 40 on the front. Why? Same thing. The Grand crew was the one had to transfer it. So the Grand ran it on the Grand trackage.
Right.
So they would pop a Jeep 40 on the front, and it would be the power. The F40PHs would basically just supply the hotel power or the head end power.
Right.
And run through the Grand. Then when they get to Salt Lake City, then they'd cut the Grand power off and Amtrak would continue on.
I'll be darned.
So that's why when you see a lot of those old videos like that, there's always Grand power on the lead.
Right. Kind of explains what, on another subject, what the SD40-2Cs were built. They had the Rio Grande light package on them.
Correct. They had the Grand light package on it because they were running on Grand trackage from the Powder River Basin. They would come in and pick up in the Grand, and then they would run them over to the Mopac and hand them off in Pueblo.
Yeah.
And so that was why. But a lot of times, if you see pictures of those trains, I think like the one I'm showing you right now, you'll be able to see that the Grand Power's on the front, even though there's 4 SD40s, there's another Grand unit right there on the front.
Right. Yep, that's correct.
So really fun little things you learn, right?
Well, and Rio Grande's always another railroad that I always like too, but I think because of their close association with Mopac and their connections. With the Gould family owned them, I guess, in the late 1800s.
Yeah, something like that.
Jay Gould. That's neat. But that's a great demonstration on the reverb, and like I said, I think that thing would look awesome coming across the Front Range with the Colorado Eagle behind it.
Yep. So, well, let's see. Anything else you want to touch on, or topics you want to discuss?
Nope. Just glad to be back. Had my little week off there. It was nice, and I got to see the Cubs, and they lost, of course. But it's spring training, so. But it was hot down in Phoenix, and then went up to Moab, Utah, and Soldier Summit. Helper, Utah, nice little town there, really neat. And because I went there for railroad stuff, but it was still a beautiful drive to see it. And then I think that line on the through Helper and stuff, I think it went back through. That was the Rio Grande line too?
Correct, that was Grand. That's the one that came through. So when it came through, the problem is a lot of Grand fans think the Grand ended in Grand Junction there on the west side of Colorado, but it actually went through, and then that was the Helper, Utah was the Grand early on. And I know my friend Jerry Day has been doing a lot of research out there in the Tintic branch and the and I'm going to get it wrong, but he's going to model one of those branches out there using the L62 steam engines, the two 882s.
Oh yeah,
and those things running out there with coal, because that was interesting because they'd come out of Helper and they would push the train up with the caboose on the end, going uphill, and then that's when they would drop the empties off in the mines and then come back, and then they would hand off and get put into the rest of it. And then the Utah Railway ran through there as well. Yeah,
that was another thing. I was, of course, they're long gone now as far as their paint scheme. But another company owns them. But I mean,
right.
But I think it's Price River Coal. There was a coal mine there, and there was a train that went to where I'm from, Southern Illinois. It came from Price River Coal and it was handled by the Rio Grande and then handed off to Mopac at Pueblo, and then Mopac took it to Illinois. And sometimes, like George said earlier, there's photos of it, and Rio Grande, a set of 4-tunnel motors on the train coming through West Frankfort, my hometown, on its way to the dump station down there on the Ohio River.
Yep.
So the Rio Grande, after the Mopac merger, they came through, but they originated out here.
Yep.
So it's kind of neat.
Yep, it is. And yeah, everything kind of comes through there. So for years, I've always had some Grand units, just for run through on the coal train power. And now somehow I've gotten a whole bunch of more Grand units, and so I have enough that I could actually model a Grand. I could model Pueblo on accurately.
You could with the Mopac and the Grand there. You could. You could have one heck of an operation there.
Yeah, one of the cool ones is Monarch Branch in the Grand. If you ever looked at that, because coming out of I believe it's out of either the Springs or somewhere in that area, they would head west, and then they'd have the my brain, I wasn't ready for this, so I'm thinking you had the line coming out of Pueblo would meet up, and then that would go over Soldier Summit's Helper.
Right.
I'm trying to think of the other one. Tennessee Pass.
Right.
Tennessee Pass.
Right.
And then so the Monarch branch would come off of there, but what was really cool about that is there were too short and too tight curves for anything 6-axle, so they'd run it with, usually in the diesel era anyway, they'd run it with a pair of Jeep 30s, and in the early days it was narrow gauge.
Right.
And when they broad gauged it, they run Jeep 30s on it, and then there's switchbacks. So you have the switchbacks where you would go up the hill, and so you'd have one cut of the train coming up over the hill, and then a severe cut going back up. So it was really neat seeing the pictures of the Jeep 30s on those.
I'll have to check that out too.
Yeah, so it's really neat. But yeah, in the early days, when it was steam, it was all narrow gauge.
Yeah.
And then they standard gauged it, and that's where it came in. So, and I think it was coming out of Salida. I said Colorado Springs. It went into Salida, and then went Salida west out of there along I-50 or Route 50, whatever.
Nothing wrong with a Rio Grande Jeep 30, that's for sure.
No.
Good looking engine. Good looking engine. Great paint scheme.
Somehow I ended up with 5 of them.
Yeah, they're nice. Those I've always liked the Jeep 32. I think, and I love the way they sound with our decoder. They sound that sounds great. That 567 turbo is awesome.
Yep, but the Mopac never bought any for whatever reason.
No,
I think they spent too much money on the 18s and the 9s and so forth.
They didn't like turbochargers either. Like
That's true.
Not non-turbo there early on. And the other thing is they did own 4 of them briefly until they transferred to the L&N after they bought the C&E.
Oh, the C&E.
So they were C&E ones, but they went to the L&N.
Yep.
They briefly had Mopac or C&E buzzsaws on them, but they were still in the black with the white,
the white stripes and stuff.
cat whiskers on them.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep.
So cool. Well, I think that's all we got for this episode. So I think we'll wrap it up, and I'll see if I can bring something out for next time. Hopefully, I'll have something off of the workbench, but I've got a few things on there that are unfortunately not mine. So
that's
roped into doing some stuff for some friends, and so
that's what happened here. I mean, I got delayed on some of that stuff, but the next one will have some paint on it. I don't know if it'll be done, but it's getting there.
Yeah, you're close.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and end this one. This is the Train Talk from Milepost 141, the SoundTraxx Soundbites podcast, and we wish you guys a good time, and thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to give us a thumbs up and like the content. And if you have any comments, please leave them below. And if you have any technical questions, give us an email at support@soundtraxx.com or give us a call, and we'll be happy to help answer any questions we can for you. So with that, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye.